Good news this week for home buyers and sellers. A new report yesterday showed new home sales are gaining more than anybody expected. And earlier, we saw a rise in the prices for existing homes. CNN personal finance editor Jerry Willis joining us now from New York with a little bit more on this. So, Jerry, tell us what glimmers of hope there are in the housing market, and maybe more importantly, how long they could last.
Well, that's a great question. You know, we are seeing glimmers of hope. You mentioned the new home sales number. That just blew away expectations. It's a critically important part of the home market because new home sales generate jobs. It generates sales in other areas. The big box stores that sell everything from furniture to, lighting, you name it. That really spurs the economy more broadly. And then another glimmer of hope as well. Existing home sales up for 4 consecutive months. Now, this is the big kahuna in the housing market. Existing home sales, far bigger than new home sales. It's really critical that that market get up and firing. And then the big question always for people who already own homes, where are prices doing? Where are prices going? Well, we saw just a couple of weeks ago quarterly home prices for the quarter ended in June up 2.9%. And I can't tell you how critical this is to consumer confidence, the way people feel about their homes, this improvement in prices. That means people are more willing to spend. It means people are more optimistic about the future. This adds to sort of already the positive sentiment when it comes to sales, either existing or new home sales. You're starting to see, Heidi, even in markets where sales have been abominable, where prices have fallen 20, 30, and 40%. Signs of hope, signs of improvement. Now, granted, a lot of the buyers out there, they're actually people who are investors. They're people who may flip the home down the road. But this turnaround is giving a lot of optimism to people who want to get into that market, frankly, for the first time. So we're seeing it in parts of California, Vegas, which has been a horrible market for the last couple of years, starting to see some improvements. Even Florida here also starting to see some improvements, and places like Detroit. We're really starting to see momentum in the opposite way, instead of down, up, and that's what we've all been waiting for. Heidi?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, our personal finance editor, Jerry Willis. Thanks for that information, Jerry. In fact, we'd like to dig a little bit deeper into what these housing numbers really mean as part of our snapshot across America today. From Irvine, California, Matt Blashaw, host of DIY Network's Deconstruction. And in New York, we have Doug Yearley, regional president of Toll Brothers, a leader in new home construction. And Julie Kripes is a CEO with Omni Bank out of Houston. Well, actually, in New York, out of Houston. We'd like to begin with you, Doug, this morning. In fact, we have seen these encouraging numbers that we've just been talking about. Does this mean that the housing market is really on the rebound, or is it a little too early to say that? What do you think?
Well, we feel great. We certainly feel a lot better than we did 6 months ago. Our numbers are up significantly. We've been reporting improvement in sales for the last 5.5 months. If you look at our communities on a same-store community, we're up 32%. The buyers are much more motivated. We're beginning to reduce incentives. We're beginning to raise prices. And while it's a buyer's market, that may not last for too long. So we do have a lot of buyers out there that understand that and are starting to come back out.
Yeah, Matt, what do you think? Same question for you. Do you think it's too early to say that, yeah, we're on the rebound, we're good?
Well, I think a lot of these buyers are taking advantage of the tax credit. That's what I always hear when I'm looking for my buyers. They're saying, hey, I want to take advantage of that because it has to close. The deal has to close by December 1st or they lose it. So they're looking at these deals. So I want to see, is this just kind of a status of whether they're taking advantage of the credit? I think a couple more months of these home sales going up, and I think we're going to really see a lot of movement. And a lot of these too are short sales. That's all I see out here is a lot of short sales, not a lot of equity sales. And the banks are finally starting to have these departments and streamline these short sales. So we're seeing these things go through, and that's contributing to the home sales as well.
All right, interesting. Let's talk to the bank lady. Julie, what do you think about all this? Is it time to say we're on the rebound here?
Well, I think it's definitely time for some cautious optimism. I like to think of it on this road to recovery across the United States. We're actually have some different speed limits, so regionally we're going to be a little faster to recovery. Texas is doing great and is actually doing some home building and having good sales. And I think it's great nationwide to see the sales up.
All right, very good. We saw prices, as we have said, Doug, for existing homes go up last month. What are you expecting, though, for the new home market? And we should also talk about prices here. I mean, we get these numbers, but then we really don't talk too much about how much money was knocked off that asking price and what sort of deals are out there.
Well, as I mentioned, our incentives are coming down, and two great stats came out this week. The Case-Shiller index of new homes showed an improvement or an increase in the price of homes in 18 of the 20 markets they study. So that's very encouraging.
Yeah.
And Commerce came out this week and disclosed that sale of new homes are up 10%, and we haven't had that number since February of '05. And we all remember February of '05 and the fabulous times we had then. Very quickly, to Matt's point, the first-time tax credit is helping, but we sell $600,000 homes. We don't sell to the first-time buyers, and we've reported some of the best numbers in the industry. So I think it's a lot more than just that first-time tax credit.
Yeah, it's very interesting. In fact, Matt would be curious to know what type of homes are most attractive to buyers out there in Southern California, because lots of times we hear about, you know, that 400,000 mark, if you will. Those are the homes that seem to be moving all the time.
400,000 is the mark. Anything under that is really, really moving, and we're talking. I've put in offers that have about these houses have about like 50 to 60 offers on them. I mean, we're talking.
Jeez.
They're going quick.
All right, interesting. Julie, for you, I guess people are probably wondering, what about the credit? Is it fair to say that credit is flowing better now, too? Because obviously in the beginning of all of this, that was a real issue. Even if you wanted to buy a house, you really had to have this remarkable credit history, of course. And then you also had to be prepared to put down a substantial down payment on a home.
Yes, credit is flowing. Banks are loaning still and using prudent credit standards, which helps us all. But there will be a requirement for people to have a solid down payment of 15%, probably, maybe 10, but most likely 15 or 20%.
I was going to say, because it's been
credit.
20 for a while. Yeah. All right, well, to the three of you, we sure do appreciate it. Everybody very interested in this, of course, at home. A lot of people have homes, and if they don't, they'd like to have one. So thanks so much for all of your input. Doug Yearley, Matt Blashaw, and Julie Kripe. Thanks, guys.